Hello and welcome, gentlemen. I'm really getting used to this. I'm getting excited for you, for me, for all of this good stuff. So, listen, once I'm going, I'm going. And once I feel it, I feel it. So, listen, just let yourself go with me. I will take you exactly where you want to go. Okay, so today's meeting is just to kind of get you started, to give you an overview of the training program and some highlights, where I want your head at and what I want you doing getting ready for week one. Remember the mission. So the mission is the things that brought you here in the first place. The concepts I talked about, the things in the messaging that made you feel like, yeah, you know what, I want to do this. Okay, so keep in mind it's a mission, so that means there will be obstacles and dangers and threats along the way. But our aim is pain-free movement. So you gotta learn what that means. Like sometimes the movement is gonna hurt, sometimes you're gonna have to push through, sometimes you're gonna have to breathe through. That's why we're practicing breathing. But the end goal is to have a lot less pain in your body. Okay, so deep core strength. As we practice the Pilates, as we practice your stretching, you're gonna hear me talk about scoop, you're gonna hear me say perch, you're gonna hear me say pull your ribs in. You've gotta learn to focus and go in deep and get stronger. As those get stronger, you're gonna see it in your posture, you're gonna see it in your shape. You've gotta bring it out, okay? Your flexibility. The biggest thing I wanna point out here, youthful strength for more years. So remember that I'm giving you a pattern that you will practice over and over, just like playing the piano or playing the guitar or shooting a jump shot. Okay, as you practice the pattern, it sets in deep and it balances things out. So keep your mission in mind. So there are multiple layers. Okay, the layers will start to meld together. You will start to understand what's the best way for you to put the movements together. I'm going to give you objectives on how many times a week I want you to practice something, but you got to sit in your own schedule and figure out what makes sense for you. So to guide the learning, we have some milestones, and the milestones apply to each and every layer, and you'll see that in the training program. So have a plan, do your plan, own your plan, and we'll talk about specifically what they mean. But your first thing right now is to take a look at the template and take a look at your work week. And well, you've got 3 weeks to have a solid plan, and you know you have a plan when you're doing it. Okay, so that's what the second one is about. The third one is really owning and understanding the layers of it so it really becomes yours and you can continue to progress. Your training mentality. Today I actually recorded a session I was doing with 2 clients who've been doing this for between 6 months and a year, one of them longer than a year. And just so you guys can see the different ways, like people who've been doing Pilates or have a dance background will look phenomenal. People like myself, like I look really good because I've worked really hard at it and I've learned to use my athleticism differently. So how you do anything is how you do everything. What allowed me to own Pilates and take it to all these different places is I treated it just like every other game or skill that I got good at, whether it was TRX or kettlebell or basketball. So I brought that mentality of I'm going to practice hard. You've got to make sure you're at every single practice that you schedule. Honestly, it's better to show up and have a blah day and know that you put what you had into it for that day than to miss it. Okay, it's better to show up for half of it than to none of it. So you got to work hard to make your schedule. You got to show up to practice. In the reps, whether it's shapes or Pilates, like there's no distraction. There's nothing in your hand. The music can't save you. No amount of community can save you from the work of the rep. So don't run from the work of the rep. Go to the work of the rep. You got to get good at being meticulous, putting your toes here, getting your thighs down, getting your scoop in, feeling the space in between your joints. You got to focus on you. That's what half of this is about. Okay. The game here is getting good with your body. Okay. And lastly, celebrate every win. I'm serious. Like when you feel yourself go further, when you feel the scoop, when you feel the posture, have fun with it. You must find joy in the process. All right, y'all, you got to get your stuff. I wish I could just deliver everything. One day I'm going to do that. I have to charge more, but I'm going to do that. Okay, listen, your space to practice, your home mat or a gym. I gave you guys a link to what I think makes sense. So not a yoga mat, something bigger than that. A gym is fine too. Listen, people are going to look at you. I don't know. I don't care. You have to get over yourself. Like, I'm going to ask you to point your toes and flap your arms and curve your spine. And honestly, you should be so focused on yourself, it really, really shouldn't matter. Over time, as you got to start getting good, people who are looking at you going to come over and ask you what you're doing and how come you look and you move so well. So choose your space. It doesn't have to be the same space. Like I've been doing so much of my practice outside because it is summer right now here in Toronto. So I have my mat and I'm outside doing it, and is great. Okay, things you'll need for support. Yoga blocks. Yoga blocks will honestly come in really, really handy. What yoga blocks do is let you bring the floor closer to you. So sometimes you sit on them, but most of the time you're leaning on them with your hands. And, when we talk about holding a shape for a long time, you're going to need to rest. You're going to need to put weight in something else and move to a different side. And so I am really insisting you guys look for cork. That's my favorite. Wood is just as good. They're just really, really hard, or just harder. But don't get the foam ones, okay? Unless you got some, just don't get the foam ones. They're too soft for you to really lean in, and you won't feel manly. How about that? Get the cork yoke, that will last you a long time. You'll be really, really happy. The clothes you wear, comfortable, loose. As you roll, sometimes you got to tuck your shirt in because your shirt will get caught under the roller. Honestly, sometimes, specifically with the yoga tune-up balls, rolling is better with no shirt on. So keep that in mind. Water towel, keep that stuff close to you. A journal for your journey, absolutely. I think that's really, really important. It's no different than trying to make money. You're trying to build a business. You're trying to build your body in a different way. Journal with yourself about this journey. Talk about it. Things that you will need for sure coming up. Okay, so yoga tune-up balls, when we started getting to the neck, the feet, the hands, I want you to have a smaller rolling device than the foam roller. Oh my gosh, the foam roller is not listed on there, but it was in your email. So we got to work on that. I will start to get with you guys on that, on how to do that by week 2, maybe week 3. And then the Indian club thing is honestly a bonus, but I think it's going to be such a wonderful transition when you guys do the strength to power, or this is just how you decide to keep it for how you guys are working. So that's that. Oh, sorry. This is what we're going into next. So we're going to go over the training program, and then I'm going to email it to you in something that I'm calling the feedback email. So your feedback email is due every Friday. And that's where you guys will give me your questions, and it'll be your accountability space as to whether or not you hit your goals. So that'll help keep us on board, all on the same page. Oh, look, there I am. Whew. Okay, this is your training guide. All right, so as you can see, there's tabs along the bottom for all of the different things that we're going to be working on. And I am on the weekly plan tab right now. And this is the tab that you are going to learn to, well, it's a tab that you kind of do quarterly. So its origin is in this project I do called the Life Loop, where, I do quadrants and I help people come up with something called a perfect week. Okay, we can talk about that later. I pulled from that the fitness portion of somebody's perfect week. So what I have on the left are the layers that you're going to work on. And then I put 3 things in the legend that I know you are thinking about when you're doing this. I'm trying to make it easy for you to plot your life, what can't move in, and then slide the movement layers in there. You know, your body is such a gift, and it's there for you always. Um, you got to be less shy, less bashful. You know, you may have to be creative. You may have to come out of the box. You may have to be okay stretching at your kid's soccer game or doing Pilates at your kid's basketball game. Yes, I have done that before, but I had a good reason because I had a competition that night. Nevertheless, my point is, don't get stuck in your box or stuck in your mat. Okay, find a way to make these things fit into your life. Like, it is your life's job to make space for you to take care of your body. Okay, so there are your movement layers. And then there's the target times that you're going to try to do it every single week. And I'm just looking at these practice duration numbers. Well, it's about right. I will probably change these and give it a range by the time I send it to you. So sorry about that if I didn't fix that. But, okay, so I think it's obvious what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to build a week that where it allows you to work on these things in such a way that at the end of the week, you've done it all. Okay, I'm not going to say any more about that. Well, we can talk about that. You guys have any questions? Tab number 2. Okay, this is your Pilates series tab. So these are the names of all the Pilates exercises. And so I am working on a video that labels them for you, but you're just gonna know. Like, I'll say it as I do it, and you've got to learn to own the series, because ultimately you want to be able to look at the series and know what to do next. So this Excel is yours. So if you want to make notes, on what to do so you can remember what it is, let me skip to this then. So you'll see there's numbers by every single exercise. The numbers are based on, the order that it was taught by Joseph Pilates, but on this page, reference materials, there is this book that is really, really handy. It's called The Complete Book of Pilates for Men, and it actually gives the Pilates Mat series and the Pilates Reformer on the Mat series. It is such an awesome resource for you guys to even just remember what exercises look like, to read, somebody else's version of how to deliver them. But I made sure that my numbers over here match the numbers that are in that book, so you'll always have that as a cross-reference. Things I want to point out. So there are things that I put in that are not necessarily in the series. You'll see me do it. So for example, over here, this is flat back scissors. I just think that that's really important for us as guys. These spaces where it's blank, it's kind of like a transition in what you're doing. So, sometimes I do a stretch, or sometimes that's where you would just cross your legs and breathe. But we're going to work our way through all of these layers. This exercise here, Mermaid, I actually was taught in my Pilates series. So I actually don't see it in the Pilates for Men book, but I think it's a really great variation. So I kept it in here, but you won't find that in that book. That's the only one. And then everything else is labeled for you guys over here. So that's the Pilates series. You guys are gonna work on this a lot. Oh, this video up here, let me see if I can click it. This is honestly one of my favorite Pilates performers. And I just think he has just like really great lines. And I used to give this out to my clients as like, an idea of what you can go for. What I look at, what I'm like, okay, I want to see how I can push my lines. So even as I look at this one, the thing I want to point out is, if you look at his tummy, see how his belly button is pulled in, like that's the scoop. Okay. If you look at how he's like pushing really into his lines and his shape. Anyway, so this video is to inspire you. Oh, here's a roll up. Look at that T curve, head to the knees. Isn't that fabulous? Okay, so this is to inspire us all to move deeper into our practice. Okay, so that's your Pilates tab. I'm gonna go faster now. Okay, breathing tab. I have the weeks listed, so you'll get a lesson. So you don't need to do anything, but I gave you guys space to write notes for the things you want to remember based on the topic that I discussed that week. And then here are your milestones. Oh my gosh, sorry. Okay, so I'm realizing I need to list your milestones over here for Pilates. So I will do that in the one that you guys get. So you'll know, okay, by milestone 1, I need you to know up to this one. From milestone 2, I need you to know up to here. From milestone 3, I need you to know up to here. Okay, so sorry, that's what's going to happen. Back to breathing. Exercise list. I mean, I'm going to do it every week, so you can just read that. But the milestones are what you're going to aim for. Just focus on the milestone for the week period that you're in, and you'll be fine, because I've really worked it through and layered it in to make it easy for you guys. Here is your shapes stretching list. So again, the list of the exercises, we're going to practice them as we go. And your first milestone is to be able to sit in the stretch. So you're going to just practice. And so the art of sitting in a stretch is the art of bringing your breathing into your stretching, okay? And so as you first will learn to sit in the stretch, and then you'll learn to find a little sequence that I'm going to put together you for these stretches, and then you're going to basically own your own sequences for the stretches, okay? And then this is the list of parts we're going to learn to roll. So you can see there's a lot of body parts here, and if you're to spend like 10 minutes, even just 10 minutes on each body part, like it would seem like really hard to get everything done each week. And so frankly, you don't get everything done each week. You got to understand your body and what you need to roll, whether you're driving or playing tennis or, working at a desk, whatever it is, you have movement patterns that are mandatory for you to do. So like the big ones, like the quads and the low back, everybody needs those. But things like the hands, like you may find that you're somebody who only needs your hands once every 2 weeks, or you may find that your hands are really tight and your shoulders are really tight and you need to do the hands every day. So I'm going to show you guys how to roll everything, and then we'll work together to make sure you guys have a format that lets you conquer all of the rolling that you're supposed to do. I think that's it, guys. So yeah, that's the last one. Oh, let me do the reference material. Let me finish this one. Okay, so I already spoke about this book here, Pilates for Men. I think you guys should make the investment in it. Is it a good read? It's a reference read. So it's as a student of Pilates, I enjoy taking different coaches because they give me a different perspective on what I'm doing, and sometimes a different cue or a different way to get deeper into it. I mean, anybody who sits in front of you is always trying to make you better. I really liked the way this book is written for men, about men. It talks about the things that men specifically need. So it's a very male-oriented book, and so it lets you push your lines. If you'll see there's actually 2 parts to Pilates. There's Pilates on the mat, or mat Pilates, and then there's a reformer, which is a totally different thing. But if you don't have a reformer, you can do the reformer exercises on the mat, and that is a totally different mental experience, and it takes actually some advanced Pilates skills. So there's a lot of places for you to grow in this. The Pilates anatomy book, well, that was just a really great read and a good visualization of what you're doing. It'll help you see how everything we're doing is connected, because it's really going to show you how to stretch and highlight all of the big parts that you need on your body to be successful. Okay, so I feel like I have covered the meat and potatoes of what you guys need to do. This video was longer than I thought it would be, so I'm going to zip it up quick. Okay, so you're getting set up. Week 1 video is done. You actually already have it, so you can ease through week 1, like do it and then work through week 1, and then we will like crank it up another notch on week 2. Okay, that's it. Enjoy. Welcome to the unconventional life, y'all. It's a pleasure. Until soon.